It's playoff baseball. It's World Series baseball. You know what that means? It's Around the Diamond time. Welcome back to another episode of Around the Diamond with Baseball Bill and Grand Slam Sam. It is a beautiful Saturday morning, and we are happy to be here with you. We are talking all things NL, ALCS, and Game 1 of the World Series. As always, Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, a lot going on, but I'm excited. It's going to be a good day.
What a
Uh,
crazy game last night.
oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? I mean, El Bombi ends the game on a home run, but this guy, I mean, let's flare for
I'm
their
excited
mouths.
about this world. We were excited about this series. We were excited about the series, but they gave us a show last night, and I'm excited to talk about it. So let's jump right into it. We're gonna finish up talking about the championship series because last week we were right in the heat of it. So let's get going. Let's look at this CS. Didn't change the lettering. My bad. But we ended off, I believe, with game 4 of the Astros Rangers ALCS. Astros had taken game 4, and they came out game 5 and rocked that house, taking it to sweep it at home, all to bring it back. Did you think that the Astros sweeping at home was going to give them the drive to push and win the series?
You mean the Astros sweeping in Arlington, not at home?
Yes.
Okay. No, I did not. The Astros had a
Yes. Sorry.
real
Sweeping in Arlington was going to.
Yeah, the Astros had a really hard time winning at home this year. They had a losing record at home this year. And after they lost the first two in after they lost the first two of the series in the juice box in Houston, it was reminiscent of the 2019 World Series where the Astros lost the World Series because they couldn't win one game at home. So I
Yeah.
think the ghost of 2019 past was coming in. I knew it was anybody's game now that it was 3-2, anybody's series.
Oh, yeah. Well, theirs did not disappoint. They went back to the juice box, as you like to call it, and took the Astros in their own house, closed up that series with a statement. 9-2 in game 6, 11-4 in game 7. Ouch. Just put a domination on this team. What were your thoughts looking at the end of that series?
So at the end of game 6, when it was 9-2, I was getting text messages from obviously Ranger fans, and I was getting messages from Astro fans. Um, I got to be honest. I thought for sure, advantage Rangers at that point.
Right.
And I had told somebody, I had said if the Rangers come out and they can get Christian Javier to throw at least 25 pitches and score 1 run in the first inning, the Rangers will win. Well, the Rangers knocked Javier out and scored
Mhm.
3 runs in the first inning, which was big, which it
Yeah.
set the tone for the whole game. And then, of course, you had Garcia, Mr. El Bombi, um, hit his grand slam. I will say, though, he disappointed me quite a bit. He hit another ball that he thought was going out, and he sat there and he watched it, um,
Mhm.
and didn't run and only got to first instead of second. That's a big no-no. I also watched him steal second base on the next pitch, and inside of me, Sam, I was secretly thinking, please get thrown out, please get thrown out, please get thrown out, because I wanted to see what his teammates would do at that point.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the as we said, congratulations to your American League champs, the Texas Rangers. Do you know the last time the Rangers they lost? And it was in 2011. The last 2 times they made it was in 2010, 2011. They lost to my boys, the Giants, And in 2011,
Yeah.
they lost to the Cardinals.
Correct.
They haven't won, and they haven't even been there since. So, before we get into like a game, side by side comparison of their opponent, what do you think the Rangers' mentality is right now going into this World Series?
Mentality is, how'd we get here? Right. No,
Right.
I mean, seriously, you have to think that at some point, because the Rangers, we knew the Rangers would be good, but we expected a year or two down the line. We did not expect it, you know, nobody, and I've said this 100 times over. If there's anybody in this world who says that they picked the Rangers and the Diamondbacks to play each other in the World Series, I would say check his back pocket for Gray's Sports Almanac, because that's the only way this person figured that out. Okay, it's Biff
Back to the
Tannen. Check
Future.
Gray's Sports
Where's
Almanac.
Doc Brown? Where's Marty
Yeah,
McFly?
exactly. I mean, it's Gray's Sports Almanac. But I do, I honestly think, um, I really honestly think that these guys just need to play it a game at a time. I'm sure they're thinking just play it a game at a time. Just make sure that it makes sense. Don't make mental mistakes. We got this.
Yeah. And congratulations to your American League MVP,
Yes.
Dallas Garcia, 11 home runs in I think it was what combined in the ALDS and the NLCS. He had 11 home runs combined.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, he is on another level right now. And we're
Yes, he
going to
is.
talk about it as we get into what happened last night's game because
Yep.
he's not stopping. He's not.
He
This team
is
last
on another level.
it's amazing to see the drive that he's been kind of playing. And like just keeping that high energy, that high excitement. And I mean, there's a lot of great talent on this team, and he is just taking that talent and bringing it to another level, in my opinion. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. He's seen the ball like it's a he's seen the ball like it's a beach ball on a tee. Um I mean, same thing with Jordan Alvarez. Jordan Alvarez has seen the ball that way, but
Yeah.
he's seeing the ball really, really, really well, and he's making things happen. And so, to me, he just has to be a little bit more patient
Mm-hmm.
because he wants to hit the home run every single at bat,
Right.
and you've got to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, you and I know it best, especially in our division, that you can't always go for the 3,000 foot.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's about just getting the ball in play. There's another big story with this Rangers team, though. Bruce Bochy is the first manager in history to take three different teams to the World Series.
Hmm.
I mean, do you think that track record is going to push them to the end and give them the title?
I don't know that that track record is going to do it, but I still think it's advantage Rangers.
Mhm.
I still think you have too much veteran leadership on this club, between guys like Max Scherzer and Corey Seager and a few others, that it's going to be really, really hard for the Diamondbacks to match up toe to toe
That's
on
fair.
that. And
That's a good
so I
assessment.
do think it's Bruce Bochy's leadership, but I don't think that that's the only thing in there.
It's a very good point. Very good point. Well, let's take a look at how this NL. So we had only seen games 3 and 4 by last week, and
Hmm.
game 5, Philly just had the momentum. They
Yeah.
just set that momentum high and just, you know, was like, we're gonna come into your house and we're just gonna dominate in this last game, so we go home on a high. and 6-1. What were your thoughts as they finished in the desert, heading back to the city of brotherly love?
I thought for sure Philly was going to wrap this thing up. That
Yeah.
I mean, different than Houston, who was struggling winning at home. You go back to the bank, you get those fans involved. They're the 10th player out there. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little chilly out there. The Diamondbacks playing in an enclosed stadium. Um, you get the fans, you get the noise, you get the cold, you get everything that's good about October baseball involved,
Mm.
and boom. I thought for sure Philly. I tell me I'm wrong. I mean, didn't you think the same?
Yeah, no, especially seeing the dominance that they came out with in that game, it was like they commanded every asset of it. They command every single aspect of that game 5. There was just nothing that you could say they did wrong. Minus the one run, they did everything right. Field play, defense was good, offense was on point, pitching was stellar. Weren't making bonehead decisions, weren't making bad calls, just getting the ball in play and doing the right thing. Living out here, 15 minutes away from the bank. It was, we can feel it. We can feel like that energy from the bank at my house. Like literally, I could see the lights shining bright at the bank from my house during those last 2 games. So it was a shocker to see what happened. And what ended up happening was the Diamondbacks came in and they did what they did in LA. They just they got a lot of points, a lot of runs in the beginning of the game, and they held strong and they said, this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna take this. D-backs put up 3 in game 6. They put up 3 in the second to Philly's 1, and then they just added to it. In the 5th inning and the 7th inning, and then if you take it all the way over to game,
Seven,
they
yeah.
just took those 4 runs early, and it was they got that first run in the first. Philly came back to tie it up, took the lead in the 4th, and then the D-backs didn't give it up since after the 5th inning. Put up 2 runs, added the go-ahead to really lock it in the 7th, and then was cheering by the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah.
um, could
I
you believe that the fan base was just kind of out of it after that last run in the 7th?
Yes. Yeah, it felt that quote unquote what we'll call insurance run, that felt huge. And you watched not only the fan base drag down, but you watched the team like kind of drag down.
Yeah.
And the team still had the 7th, 8th, and ninth. They had 9 outs to score 2 runs. But you would have thought that once they scored that run in the 7th, you would have thought the game was over. Like they could have just ended the game right there. Philly really
Yeah.
didn't. I mean, it felt different. I mean, their fear of losing out. And oh my gosh, if you've watched some of the fan videos coming out of the stadium,
Oh
my
they are.
word, some of these people, like,
I
I'm
don't need to
looking
watch the video. I live it at my house.
at.
Bill. Well, let me just give you a quick. Let me just tell you this. So in the 2nd inning, when they after the Phillies put Alec Boehm hit that home run, Philly had a 55% win probability
Mhm.
after the run in the 2nd inning to take the lead. They had a 71% probability rate of winning the game. By the 7th inning, they had a 20% chance of winning the game.
Yeah.
So I think they just, do you think it was more offensively that they just couldn't put it back together? Or do you think it was just I mean, look, when you go 1 for 25 in the last 2 games, between your best 4 players, I mean, yeah, you're going to put up, you're not setting yourself up for great success. But
Right. But you know what's so Philly fell prey to the same thing the Dodgers did, and I not as much with Milwaukee, not as much with Milwaukee, but still, you still had this issue. Philly did this thing that the Dodgers fell victim to. Nobody thought the Diamondbacks would be chasing the National League pennant, much less get into the World Series. Nobody thought that. So
oh yeah,
you fast
we'll talk
forward,
about that in a second.
yeah, but you fast forward, and I think Philly in the seventh inning, I think the Phillies were thinking, "Oh, wait, we're gonna get eliminated, huh? Against this team, huh?" Now, there was one thing that I will say: the Diamondbacks players, those that will be back on the Diamondbacks next season. If I were you guys, I'd fake an illness when you have to go back to Philly, because I'll tell you what, planting a flag in the middle of our stadium, in the middle of our
Their
field,
stadium, their stadium,
yeah,
their field,
yeah,
not
exactly.
yours. Remember that you are a Dodgers fan.
No,
Oh, for
planting the
them,
flag.
if you're them, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm the Diamondbacks, man, I'm faking a cold. If I was on that team last year and I got to go back to Philly this next year, I'm faking a cold, man, because it's gonna be expect maybe some fisticuffs going on, a few pitches thrown at the dome, that type of thing, because this dude literally went out with his flag, whoa, right in front of everybody, and was okay with it. And
I think look, when you just won the National League championship, you I'm going to show this on the next screen, but the probability rate of the Diamondbacks, even the probability of them winning the World Series was astronomical. The probability of them even making it was even more astronomical. So, they had all the confidence in the world to be able to do that. I would have expected Philly to do the same thing if Philly had won in Arizona. To be honest with you, I would have. They're riding a high right now. I feel like that. Look, they played an incredible series. They had every right to be high on that praise, high on that glory, and good for them. Yeah, maybe should you fake it? Will he probably get dinged next year when he comes out to the bank? Probably, but I'm sure he's also expecting it. I guarantee you he's going to say that welt's going to be worth it.
maybe
We won. You didn't. That welt's totally worth it. We're playing an extra 7 games. You're not.
seven, you sure?
Well, we will see. But again, congratulations to your National League champs. You guys crushed it, deserved every moment of it. Tel Marte winning the MVP, going on a 12-game hit streak to lock it in. Kudos to you. You deserve that. You deserve that MVP. And can't wait to see what you're going to bring to this World Series, which World Series is already underway. So look at some of these statistics. Bill, we previewed this before the show started.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and I both looked at this and was like, that's what their stats were in 2021. And where are they now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these two teams, both in 2021, were last place. Both had 100 losses. Both of them at the start of the season had less than a 3% chance of even winning the World Series, according to FanGraphs 2023 preseason poll. There's my disclaimer.
Yeah, there's a disclaimer.
To be under, and look at the teams that these guys postseason 100-win teams, number ones in the division. Looking at this, I mean, who in your mind is like the X factor? What's the X factor for these two teams?
Um, X factor for Arizona is speed. Remember, in the last two games in Philadelphia, they had a combined total of 8 stolen bases to Philadelphia's one. So they were getting on, getting over, getting in. For Arizona, it's all about speed. They're younger, they're talented like that. You got Marte, you got this kid, I think his name's Thomas. You got Corbin Carroll. These guys run like the wind.
Yeah.
Um, for the Rangers, their X factor is they've got some veteran leadership mixed in with some young kids that are doing amazing things, like Evan Carter. But Evan Carter's got Corey Seager um,
Mhm.
to mentor him. So for the most part, your X factor is speed on one side and experience on the other. Because remember, Corey Seager has
Right.
been to the World Series in 17, 20, and now 23. Or I'm sorry,
Right.
17, 18, 20, and now 23.
I had to
He's
throw
been to
that
the
18 in there,
playoffs.
didn't you?
No, no, no. I'm just that has nothing to do with the Dodgers. It's just there's your experience,
I'm
right?
just
So
messing with you.
yeah, I know. Yeah, well, listen, I mean, that 2021 record looks a lot like what the Giants are heading towards.
Right.
But you know, but I think that experience is going to play well. Guys like guys like Corbin Carroll, guys like Evan Carter don't even know that they're not supposed to be there. That some guys play their entire career and never play in the World Series, and these guys are doing it in their first season.
Right.
So that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, they also have to
Huge.
hope that this doesn't, give them a mentality and a mindset moving forward of like, okay, but I think this is going to be a good drive for them to say, okay, I felt this. Now I want to be back. So I think it's just going to make the division even better for us.
So let me debate that for a second with you. Okay. Why not have that mentality? Why not have the mentality of I expect this every year? Derek Jeter did, and look what his career was like. Now, if you have the mentality thinking,
That's
oh, this is
true.
no
That's
problem,
true.
this is no problem, we're going to be there every year, that's a problem. But if you have the mentality of, hey, I've been to that mountain, anything less than that mountain is not good enough for me.
I see what you're saying. I think I was looking at it in the other way of like, oh,
Yeah.
we got this locked in. And you know, I think I think that's where Houston got to. I think that they have been on a track record uh, over the last years. We've got this locked up. Yeah, we may struggle throughout the season, but once we get to the postseason, we know we're gonna dominate. So we're just gonna go in there, and every team's already gonna be scared of us. And the Rangers came in there and said, "No, we're not. We don't care. We're not scared of you. Get back on your horse and go back to the other side of the Lone Star State. We're gonna take this one."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
They both said, hey, hold my caffeine free Coke. We're going to take this. Right. And
caffeine free Coke.
I mean, if you're going to drink Coke, you might as well have it unleaded. Right. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, I get
That's
it.
fair.
I get it. It makes sense. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's look at game one real quick.
Hmm.
Game one was stellar. It was back and forth the entire game.
Hmm.
You know, excitement in that ninth inning, and then again, Garcia doing what he's been doing since the start of this postseason, just kind
Yeah.
of walking it off. Give us your highlights from last night's game, Bill.
You know, I got most of the game in. We did have a family dinner last night that had, took away from it a little bit. Um, I, the biggest thing I'm going to say, and the thing that's going to hurt both teams, is the fundamental of shutdown innings,
Mm-hmm.
right? Diamondbacks score, then the Rangers score. Rangers score, then the Diamondbacks score. Like I mean, at one point the Rangers tied it up. I want to say they tied it up at 3, and then the very next inning, Tommy, you definitely want to play fantasy football with me, fam. Goes out and he hits a home run, right? Makes it 4-3. And so Jock Peterson's
Right.
favorite Tommy fan, right? And so they, you know, You got to shut it down. You tie it up, and then you go into the 11th. Now, I'm glad that we don't have the Mickey Mouse rules, right? Runner on second.
Thank God for the postseason they don't do that, because
I
that would
know.
just be the game would have been over in the 10th.
I I was having lunch with a retired MLB guy this last week, and it was funny because I asked him about some of the rule changes, and I said, I go, I'm just waiting for Manfred to come out and say, hey, everybody's got to play 3 innings and they got to get one at bat, kind of like Little League baseball. And he started laughing. It's true. I mean, these rules are crazy, but I highlights, El Balmy does what he does. The Rangers are not going to be able to come back all the time if they consistently fall behind. The Diamondbacks
Mhm.
have got to get on and move people. They got to put pressure. They did that last night on Nathan Eovaldi. They got on, they started running, they started getting him out of his gear. So that's what you're gonna have to do.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing, and it's what I said, I've been saying to people all week because I have people asking me all week, what do you think is going to happen? They were asking me in that Diamondbacks Phillies game, how do you think it's going to play out? What do you think is going to happen? How are the Diamondbacks going to get ahead of the Phillies? How are the Phillies going to stay ahead of the Diamondbacks? I said all of the pressure was on Philly. All of the pressure was on Philly because they had that mentality of here last year. We're expected to be there, no worries. So all the pressure was on them. What I think the Diamondbacks need to do is they need to go back to the mentality they had in that last series. We shouldn't have even made it here. So let's just have fun and play our game.
Mhm.
Don't try to play anyone else's game. Don't try to start changing the wheel. Don't reinvent it. Go back, play your game, do what you've been doing since the start of the season, and you guys will go. I think the Rangers, exactly what you said. They need to they just use their veteran leadership and their veteran presence and just kind of help guide them to staying consistent. Ultimately, both of these teams, though, they need to close innings. They need
Yep.
you get two outs, you can't get a
100%.
man, you can't put a man on base. You can't let a man start getting ahead of the count. You can't let a guy, start stealing second and third while you got two outs and a man and a batter at the plate with two balls. You can't be doing it. So you got to shut down these innings. You got to close out the innings. You got to eliminate the probability of getting loose runs in. Um, Looking at the series though, we're taking it to November. We may not have a game in November. I don't remember the last time we didn't have a game in November. It's doubtful, but do you think playing into November is going to be a drama because these guys play below the Mason Dixon line? It's not going to make much of a difference because they're playing in warm weather regardless.
Well, they both have roofs,
That's
so
true.
it doesn't matter. It
Might as well
doesn't
play
matter.
in the Astrodome.
What's that?
Might as well play in the Astrodome.
Yeah, except for that thing's falling apart on the inside. They need to renovate it.
That is
Um,
true.
they both play in they both have roofs, retractable roofs. So you might see the roof retract. Who knows? Um,
Yeah,
the bigger issue is going to be how would have this played out? Let's say if Minnesota would have won the American League and they would have been playing Philly.
that's
How's that
true.
going to play out in November?
Well, if this goes to game 7, we will be doing this show the morning of game 7. So we're either talking about World Series champs or we're going to be talking about a game 7 finale, which is going to be incredible to watch. And you're not going to want to miss it. But Bill, you've put together an this week, and it's starting off with probably one of your most favorite guests in the week. I personally think the guest you have on Monday might be your best guest of the year, personally.
I'm deleting Monday's episode. It's not happening. No, Sam's on Monday. Jason's on Tuesday. Jason and I are going to cover the first two games of the World Series on the podcast. Play Action Real is new. He's going to come in on Wednesday and talk a little bit about Houston. he lives in AZ, so he gets a chance to check everything out there. Thursday and Friday, I'm still waiting to hear back for some people on Thursday and Friday, but we'll have some guests for there. As far as around or in the leagues is concerned, Megan does her hour-long show. This yesterday was phenomenal. We had, let's see, one, two, three, four, five guests on in the hour long, and it was so much fun and so exciting. So that starts at 8 o'clock on Friday mornings, 8 o'clock Pacific time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard. That starts. You got to get on that. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm still waiting to hear back from some people. I'm doing Monday's show for sure, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll see how all that plays out. We also have another show of this week, this Saturday, and and we have another rivalry talking film today and next week. Vegas, baby. Vegas is happening. We've got things set. We're getting ready to announce all the locations.
My
Get
tickets
your
have
tickets
officially been
early.
purchased, fans, so Bill can get off my back about it.
Yes, it's about time. Yes, but be cognizant. We only have a certain number of people that can come, so get your tickets early. We're anticipating about 100 people there. We're going to cap it pretty close to that because of one of the things that we're doing. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So get your
Now you
tickets early.
got to make sure if you're buying these tickets outside the locker room, you're going to be paying an arm and a leg. There's
Mhm.
not a question about it. You don't, obviously, if you don't want to play the menial $58, which is an amazing price for what Bill provides you with Top Fan Rivalry, you're only doing yourself a disservice. But you're gonna be paying a lot of money if you do this outside the locker room. If you do this inside the locker room, Bill, you have a special going for the fans right now that are locker room access fans, right?
Yeah. So if you don't have locker room access, enter the code ATD. Once you get in the locker room, you go in the locker room store and you can buy two tickets for half price. So instead of spending $150 per ticket, they're $75 a piece. Now, you have a choice. You and a friend can go for 300 bucks, $150 each, or you can get the locker room, get all this content for a full year and buy your tickets and save yourself almost $100 to go.
Yeah, and
No
I
brainer.
have been privied a rundown of the events that Bill and the team have been scheduling. These events could easily cost anyone probably close to $500-600 in Vegas, easily with what Bill has planned up. So $300 for a pair is a steal. $150 for a person is a bargain, and $75. Bill is practically giving it away because of how much he loves the Top Band. So you need to get your locker room access. Again, use the code ATD when you are signing up for the locker room. And then once you're behind the locker room door, get those $75 tickets for FanFest. You are not going to want to miss it. I'm going to be there. Bill's going to be there. We are going to have a the majority of the Top Band crew is going to be there, and we are excited to talk to you. So you definitely don't want to make sure you are checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, new podcasts, new merch, and the watch parties that are being planned for 2024 baseball. We are already in the planning stages. Our roadmap is almost completely built. So you don't want to miss out on what Bill and the Top Fan Rivalry crew are putting together for the 2024 season. It is going to be legendary. Bill, anything else with the top fans out there?
No, let's do it. Let's have a good
Let's
time.
let's have fun. And as always, thank you for joining us this week on Around the Diamond, and we will see you on the field next week. Have a good
Yeah.
weekend.